Today we are going to go over translating and solving equations. So we're going to look at this example we have here. So it says, so this is what we need to translate. It says the product of a number and -7 is 63. So to translate that, what we need to do is we need to look at the word problem and turn that into an equation, okay? We want it to be a math sentence with more numbers and letters, okay? So we have the product. Product tells us we're probably going to have multiplication, right? Of a number, don't know what that is, but we're going to call that n for right now. So number. So the product, so the multiplication between a number and -7, so I have -7, is 63. Is going to tell me there's probably an equal sign, right? Because it is this. And then it tells me 63. So reading that again, so the product, the multiplication of a number, so the multiplication of a number and -7, so it would be a number times -7, is 63. And although what we just wrote here is correct, mathematically, if we're going to write it in the proper algebraic form, we're going to have -7n, because -7n is the same thing that means -7 times n, or n times -7, because we know we can go ahead and do multiplication and either way, and we will get the same answer. 63. So now that I've came up with the equation, okay, so here's my equation. I want to solve my equation. So now, over here on this side, let's go -7, n equals 63. And I want to solve. I want to figure out what n is. So like we did the other day, we're going to go ahead and do the inverse operation of the math we have to get our variable alone on a side. So since I have -7 times n, the inverse operation, the opposite operation of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by -7. Remember, whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other side. So that will cancel out. And I get n, and I get 63 divided by -7 is -9. So n is -9. So looking at this example, 2/5 of a number is -12. So I have it in words. I want to turn it into an equation. So as I read this, 2/5 would be, let's see, 2/5 of a number, not quite sure what the number is, so we're going to give it a variable, call it n, is, again, tells me that there's an equal sign involved, -12. Well, I've got all the information there just by reading the sentence. So now 2/5 of a number, 2/5 times a number equals -12. Rewriting that, 2, 5, n equals -12. Okay, 2/5 of a number, I can find 2/5 of a number by timesing it by that. So to figure out what 2/5 of a number is, I just times the number by the 2/5. I know it is -12, so now I need to solve. So over here, 2/5 n equals -12. I have 2/5 times n, so the inverse operation of timesing is division. So I could divide them both by 2/5, or I can cancel out a fraction by timesing by the reciprocal. So if I times both sides by 5/2, it will also cancel out. So this cancels out, leaving me n. And to go ahead and figure out what this is over here, I can make any number a fraction by putting it over 1. Negative 12 times 5 gives me negative 60. And 1 times 2 gives me 2. 2 goes in. 2 goes into negative 60. Negative 30 times. So n equals negative 30. Okay, looking at this example. So this is what we need to translate. So if I have 7 less than the quotient of a number and 3 equals negative 3. So that sounds like a whole lot going on there, but let's break this down and see what it really is saying. So 7 less than. So I'm going to have something, and then I'm going to subtract 7. Remember, the less than is those turnaround words, which normally mean that this is going to go behind. Okay, I'm not going to start with minus 7. I'm going to have something, and then I'm going to take 7 away from it. But I don't know what is this blank in front of there yet. So 7 less than, so I'm going to subtract 7 from something. I'm going to subtract it from the quotient. Quotient, just one of those weird words, remember? Division, okay? Quotient means division. So 7 less than the division of a number, not quite sure what that is, we'll call it n, and 3, So the quotient of a number and 3. So it would be the division between a number and 3. How would I write that? The division between a number and 3. Okay, that's how I write that right here. Equals, well, right there I just told you straight up, equals negative 3. So now if I look at the important information that it gave me here, so I know I have the quotient. I'm going to subtract 7 from something, and it equals negative 3. Looking at this again then. So 7 less than the quotient. So 7 less than, I'm taking, nope, I don't want to write with a highlighter. I'm taking 7 away from something. So 7 less than the quotient of a number and 3. So 7 take away from the quotient and 3 is, so equals negative 3. So the equation is n divided by 3 minus 7 equals negative 3. Now let's figure out how would we solve for this. So n divided by 3 minus 7 equals negative 3. So just remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other, okay? We need to keep the equation equal. So I want n on one side, okay, because I want to have n equal something. So we're going to leave n on the left right now. So if I have negative 7, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that by adding 7. Whoa, I don't know what's going on there. Hold on. So add 7 to both sides. That will cancel out. Negative 3 plus 7 gives me 4. Bring the information down. So n divided by 3 equals 4. Okay, now, since it's saying I have n, but then I'm going to divide it by 3, the inverse operation of division is multiplication. So if I want to divide n by 3, I can cancel it out by timesing it by 3. So 3 over here is going to cancel, and equals, and 4 times 3 gives me 12, and equals 12.